Hello everyone. I did something stupid just now. When I was attempting to move all the stuff that was on my SD card, I moved it. Instead, I deleted it off of the out of the folder rather than off the SD card since I had already transferred it. That's neat. So it's gonna take a second for that to get done, but I just wanted to go ahead and start up the stream since I said I was going to, and apologize for the lack of streams on here in general. Um, this channel, I should be posting videos on this week every week, but that's just not a thing I can do. I recently adopted a cat, and you know he's a kitten, so he needs a lot of attention, and a lot of attention that I can't give some of the time. I'm doing good. Down real quick. So what I figured is, when I can, I'm gonna try and stream here, probably like once a week if I can. Again, um, and since I'm halfway done with this one, I'll just go ahead and do it here. Do this one, you know. How's Herman? He's doing good. He's been a little bit of a, little bit of a something today. Anyway, here's my setup. Hopefully, we got everything set up all right. Got half a battery. About mentally this. So I'm about halfway into this painting, and the camera just wants. So if you haven't seen my setup, I basically have a DSLR camera that I've taped my regular camera to. Still climbing like a tree. Yeah. I mean, he woke up this morning. 5 or 6, and kittens do not get sleeping. Like when other people want to sleep, doesn't really matter. He's gonna yell. He's going to yell for hours on end. Like he's just down for that. A good yelling. Um, wow, that is 3 minutes and 30 seconds that we can't work on this painting. Well, anyway, I want to work on this one. I also want to work on another one. I have not painted in I think 2 weeks now, maybe longer. Just because I haven't had time, you know. I really don't like putting him in his crib. Call it a crib because saying it's a cage is depressing sounding. Um, so as such, I try not to, and he just doesn't really care about other people's space and things and stuff like that. I think this is going to be the last one of the types of paintings that I do for a while. Um, just because I'm running out of ideas for it. There's another one I want to do. Another project I want to work on, and I'm going to work on it after this one just because I've already started this one. I want to see it through to the end and then go from there. See how it goes. Let me go ahead and get the music set up because I know I'm going to forget to do that. Also, I'm sorry. I tried to... this is a headset I used to stream with, and I was going to wear it around my neck. Tiny lavalier, but it's super jacked up. It makes all sorts of noise all of the time. Every time I breathe, all the crackles. If I move my head away from it, it cuts out completely. I need to get something like that for this because when I start moving, probably lip read enough that you could tell what I was saying there. But anyway, music. I need to also write more music for this channel because there's like 2 or 3 songs. And that is it's getting a little repetitive. I don't know if anyone else cares. I do. There it is. Right, and then we've got this set up. That long, hasn't it? Alright, we'll skip that one, and then just hit play. And there we go. There it is. Yeah, only having one song is kind of repetitive. But it's a time-consuming thing. I'm not actually good at writing music. I just, like, mash the buttons until it works. Anyway, it says that it's almost done. 45 seconds. I think we can wait that long. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay. Once it says it's done, then we need to delete off the stuff that's in there. Probably should have done this before I started the stream, but I didn't want to wait too long. Just play that's not gonna work, man. Weirdly enough, every version of Mozart has been copyright claimed by some SoundCloud rapper. Well, thank you. It's one of those things that I think about. I'm like, man, I want to learn how to go fight. Like, just do hand-to-hand combat. I know no one was talking about it, but actually I was. Mozart public domain? Yeah. Yeah. But YouTube system is very exploitable. Just play Mozart, but everything is middle C, so it's just the C note at different speed. Now that should look about right. Does it look okay for you guys? It looks pretty okay. The cable is running behind my back. Kind of where we're at. Okay, so how do we start this? Need to get some cool. So now we can actually start. You guys have any projects you work on? Got a project that I want to do with y'all, but I want to see if it actually works first. Beard ASMR tone shifted to music. You're more creative than this area because like less precise, kind of warm up. I did a sketch for this already. Guess I should put it on the paper. Hadn't thought of that. Figure out what I'm talking about this well, because I got about a week to fit the painting and record the audio. I haven't forgotten about Homestuck Bop and all that. Realized that I recorded like way too much for After Hours. Kind of the reason that we're doing this rather than my stream. Like, well, let's give people an After Hours because I'm doing like part streams for like, right? Almost have a full. It's not ideal. Your voice cuts out when you're closer to. Oh no. I just realized what I did. Oh, can I change that now? Noise gate. Remove noise gate. There we go. Is that better? Now if I turn away, can you still hear me? Or no? Is that Pepsi Man? It's definitely the right colors for it. Hopefully we can make him look a little less Pepsi Man by the end of this. Played some Kill Team yesterday. Actually went to a physical location and played some Kill Team. Yeah, the reason it was cutting out was because I had whatchamacallit, noise gating enabled, so if it wasn't up to a certain volume, it just wouldn't turn on. I'm gonna try and just paint his entire face white, and we'll just start from scratch, because I've got like some of the lines in here, but some of this is totally wrong. We'll paint the parts up to about where we need to shift colors, and I keep shifting the camera behind me. I need to get a better setup for this. Mainly it's just about figuring out what that better setup is. But yeah, Kill Team was great. It was nice to get out of the house, and not for work reasons and not to buy anything. We only played one game. There were a couple of guys, and they're like, oh yeah, we can teach you. And they were super nice. So they taught me how to play. I kind of had a vague understanding, because it's a lot like 40K, but I figured, you know, I gotta learn the specific rules, and there's enough differences that, like, you can't just straight up play it, unless if you know it. And, so we played a three-way game, because, they were already getting set up, and they were like, why don't you just play with us? And I was like, I'm fine with just watching. And they're like, no, play with us. You know, we need to get more people playing this game, so that way we have people to play against. And I'm like, that's super cool of you, man. So, anyway, the game ended up going 2 to 3 to 25. So I think I'm pretty good at the game. Which is a weird place to be in, because one of my favorite things about that game, and about 40K in general, and deck building and all that kind of stuff, is, you know, yeah, the camera keeps doing a drifting thing. I'm trying to tape it down, but it's not really having it. Just got some masking tape, and it's really not doing the job. If it slips again, I'll bring it back. Trying to keep an eye on it. Okay, so that's about right over here. And it's okay if I go a little off the canvas. But anyway, the problem with that, with actually making a good army with like kind of the scraps of what I've got so far, is that now I don't know what to do with myself. You know? Like, what do I do when I'm not playing the game, and I'm not painting, and I'm not streaming? You know? Like, if I found a solution that's good enough to be a, like, 25 point, or I guess it was 22 point lead, because the other guy had 3 points. And plus, like, I don't know if it was just because they weren't paying attention to me. You know? It's drifting again, isn't it? Alright, let's get some more tape. Sorry about the weird view. Alright. How's that? That's pretty okay. I'm pretty sure I've got some duct tape, but, you know, I don't really want to go and get it, because then I have to stop the stream, and because getting up from this position is not as easy as just like standing up and turning away from it. It's like kind of an ordeal, because I'm kind of strapped in at this point. The cord that hooks up to the thing so you guys can see actually goes straight behind me, which means that getting up is not an option. If I could get, I don't know how many songs I would need. I guess if I had 12 songs, does that sound right? If I had like an album's worth of music that I wrote myself to use on this channel, I could trade it out every other week or every other video. And then it would be a year before you heard the same track again. Oh, it won't let you post the Patreon link? You can make a splint for it. That would work. Let me check and see. I noticed, like, while I was posting on the Patreon to announce this stream was happening, someone else just donated. Here we go. Okay, now it's in the link of the thing, and now it's linked on the thing. Also, if you are one of those people who is in the $10 tier, email me your art. I sent you an email about it. I want to give you what you guys paid for. There's not a lot of point in being at the $10 tier if the $5 tier is the same thing, except for without the critique. Unless if you just want to give me money, which is nice of you, but like, I don't know. It's a little bit off in a couple spots, but it's close enough that I should be able to... Yeah, it's almost at 100, which is pretty good. I'd say, oh, once it's at 100, I'll be making more than the highlights channel, but that's actually, like, only partly true. It depends on the month, primarily. Also, it depends on whether or not Logan Paul has done anything recently, or someone similar. So, right now, actually, ArtCade is making more than the highlights channel, which is crazy, but it just shows you how bad YouTube is at purchasing ads. Well, it's not really their fault. It's more or less people using ad block. And I can't fault them. It's just like who actually wants to watch ads. And the number of ads YouTube has is like a fairly small pool right now. It's like root insurance and there's one for, I think it's Sprint, with this really annoying sounding robot. And it just screams. It's awful. I'm trying to think of what the other ads are. Oh, the one where it's like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but what does make sense is switching to, I want to say Time Warner or Geico. And it's like a lot of clown related stuff. How did you feel when you sold your first painting? I'll let you know. I don't think I've sold actual like original yet. And the main reason I haven't, I think, is I haven't figured out where my price point is. Right now I'm overcharging, I think. It depends on where you're selling. If you're selling at a little cafe or whatever, you can charge a lot less. Or you have to, or else they won't even consider it. Somewhere in like the $30 to $20 region, which is just not viable for me. Because that's like, I mean, the paint alone can be more than that sometimes. Skill set, I don't know, 20-30 bucks might be where I need to sell if I'm gonna actually sell some stuff. The issue right now is I've got more paintings than anything else. Alright, so I believe we're at the point, now is this wet still? It's a little bit wet. I started up there for a reason, so that way I could kind of... I'm betting that's Tilda texting me. My brother ran into an old friend of ours. Like he was playing a gig last night and ended up running into the guy. And he was like, man, you're... Because he was telling my brother, he's like, yeah, man, your music's great. And he's like, wait a minute. You're Colin's brother. He's like, yeah. Like, I was never, like, super good friends with this guy, but I've sold prints. Yeah, I've sold plenty of prints. That's a good feeling. Selling prints is a good feeling because, like, the only value that they're getting is whatever value they describe. What's the right word? Subscribe to it? Which is a nice feeling, because they decided that it was worth it, you know? I've been trying to work on if there's a way that I can make, like, smaller, cheaper prints that I can, like, personally send out. But right now, it's like, the P.O. box is not worth it. When this channel gets a little more popular, when it gets a little bit more steam, I can start thinking about that. But right now, the P.O. box thing is just not a good idea. My posture is awful. Subscribe? I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, Goddess Gamer, that is the way you should do it. You should do it, like, time taken plus, like, you know, any material you used. You might want to add a little bit just in case you have to pay taxes or, you know, whatever. PayPal has a fee if you're going through them. But, yeah, that pricing method, when you're doing, like, if you're doing digital art, you can be a lot cheaper because digital art doesn't have that overhead of you gotta go paint and canvas and all that. It's just you boot up your computer. You do have to have that initial setup of having a decent enough computer, but once you have that, you're solid. But I say that as if that's not a huge investment. Fortunately, the stuff that you need for a gaming computer and what you need for like a editing or art computer are fairly similar. So if you know, kind of kill two birds with one stone, you're fine. I don't know a lot about computers, just in general. Don't really know what I'm talking about. If there's anything you shouldn't trust my word on, it's about technology. I have a vague understanding of how it works. I've been thinking about doing eBay for the last little bit, and I just haven't sat down to do it. Part of it's that, and part of it is my worry is that they won't sell because I'll start the price point way too high. I think I should just price them at material cost plus, you know, eBay's cut, and then just see what I'm worth. Maybe add in minimum wage. Because I'm not entirely sure how much I'm worth just yet. How are you doing, man? So we'll see. But that might be the way to do it, because then I sell a few paintings, and that gives me like a baseline, right? I kind of think I like the idea of doing this in red more, but I'm fairly committed to doing it blue, because I liked how the YB Happy, I don't know, whatever I called that one. I've decided that I'm going to start naming paintings rather than just naming it like Jim or Skull 5 or whatever. I'm going to just start naming it based on really stupid stuff people say to me. Or just stupid things I think of. I'm just going to start keeping a catalog of it. And that way, I have a constant stream of names that sounds meaningful. And I guess they are. I mean, there was something important enough for me to write down. It's like poetry, except for dumb. I think this song's about to end. It's fairly repetitive. 7 definitely needs to be one. You look like someone who knows how to have a good time, or whatever that one is. That one was named because I went to the bank one day, and I was in a bad mood. I had to walk. I had to walk there through the heat and all that, so I was sweating, and my boss was kind of being a pain to me that day. And I walk in, and the bank teller's like, you know what? You look like someone who knows how to have a good time. And I must have glared at him. Because it was just like, that's the dumbest thing you could have said to me. Like, I am in a piss poor mood today. But it was just absolutely hilarious to me. Kind of brought me out of my funk. I don't think that was his intention. We'll clean up some of this in a bit. I could add some red or some purple. Stay complementary. Or not complementary, analogous. I'm really surprised that that color video has been so helpful to so many people. I'm glad it has. That was definitely one of those times where imposter syndrome was kicking in hardcore, and I was like, they'll know I know nothing about art. It's like, no, you went to school, idiot. Like, you know something about art. Like, that's why you graduated. Mostly because my art history teacher decided not to be vindictive. She's good people. She could have very easily given me like a D, but she bumped me up to a C, just so that way I would pass. Because I was like, listen, I know I'm bad at this, but I'm really trying. I don't know what's going on. Art history has never been my strong suit. Everything else I did a good job in, but her classes were just brutal. I guess I need to do that, because that was something that a lot of people voted on. I did a poll. There's a Patreon exclusive poll on, like, what do you guys want me to talk about? And that one and, like, how to practice effectively were the ones. Was talk about teachers. I feel like the meme, the thing to do if you're an artist on YouTube is to talk about how awful all your teachers were and how like weird all of the people in your classes were. But like, I don't know, it's just art school, you know? Like, I'm there. Like, I was a fully accepted weirdo in that community. Like, everyone's like, oh, everyone else is a weirdo. It's like, no, dude, you're going to art school. You're a weirdo too. So, like, I can't really be like, oh, they were weird, but I'm normal. Or I'm weird and they're normal. It's like, no, it's if you're a weird enough dude or gal to go and try and become an artist, you got something going on wrong with you. I never talked to design students. The way the school was set up, it was like they were segregated off into their own little world. We still had to like interact with them every now and then, and they'd show up in our classes, and you had, the curriculum was like, you know, fairly cross, I don't know what the term is. If you did one, you'd have to take a couple classes from the other. And that way you'd be well-rounded. Design is still not something I'm good at. I was able to do a little bit of it, you know? And I can do it for like YouTube stuff, because I know what works there, but not that I do that all the time. A lot of the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing on thumbnails, I kind of just like shirk on, which is probably not the best, but you know. Did I start the camera? I did. Okay, good. Because we're in there for a minute. So yeah. Graphic design is a totally different beast than doing just like regular art. And I can fake it. I can fake it like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. Our school didn't have an animation section, so I really don't know what animators are like. Aside from like famous ones and all that. But I've never met someone who's like, I didn't go to school with anyone. I was gonna say I've never met someone who's an animator, but like there are plenty of people in the Vinesauce community, not like the streamers or anything, but like, you know, artists who hang around it that are animators. And so it's like, technically that counts. I need to use something else, like a different brush for this bit. My back has just been killing me lately. I need to get out more. That was really nice, going and doing that. Like, doing something and getting out simply for the reason to get out. Did I bring that ultramarine blue over here? Doesn't look like I did. That is a problem. Got a cerulean blue. Got a, it's gonna be like way too light, isn't it? It's pretty dark. I could use that. It needs a little bit of this. Some golden paint. Fanto blue. Flannel blue. I don't know if art is the rule of bull or BSing, but like, it's you get a definite advantage if you can explain your work in a way other than, oh, well, I just really like it. It's like, great, every artist likes their stuff, but like, why did you choose to do that? Like that. Well, I shouldn't say every artist likes their stuff. A majority of artists like what they do, and that's why they do it. I don't understand the people who don't like doing art but do it. I've met a few people like that, and it's just like mind-boggling to me that there are people who do art but hate it. Just don't understand. Okay, this blue is not going to work. It's like way too transparent and light. Okay, well, let's get the bumps out. I'm just going to paint it down a bit. I need to go get that ultramarine out and use it instead. Okay. Now it shouldn't leave any ridges or bumps or anything. Alright. Super wasteful in the way that I clean my brushes. I mean, like, as far as I understand how keyframing works, there's important frames, and then there's like the messier smear frames that are more abstract. And the keyframes are ones that need to be like more well done. I really don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm gonna turn off the camera and I'm gonna get up real quick if I can. See if I can figure out how to do that. Give me a second. The rest of this music is Kevin MacLeod, who's hi. And I'm back. How are you? That's falling, isn't it? I can feel it falling. Wait. Okay, let me see if I can rotate without notching anything. Okay, cool. I am back. And I have ultramarine blue, which will help. Use up the last of my, like, paint here. I'm trying to get it down so I have, like, a smaller... I've got, like, a tool chest of paint. And, that's not exactly ideal for, it's, like, too much. I know, I have awful headphone hair. Makes me, like, pompadour even worse. Thank you, Knox. It's not my birthday, but thank you. The meme stays alive. It's been like 7 years since that meme was started. we in about the same spot? I think we are. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So now we got this again. I've actually got like a little sketch. I think I already said that. I did say that. Alright. Got a little sketch of this guy, and so I'm just referencing it. I used to be like, nah, I don't need prep work or anything. I can just go in and do a painting without knowing what I'm gonna do. And then I started doing like sketches before I went into stuff. And it's so much better, dude. So much better. Like, it makes your life so much easier if you know, like, where things need to be. It doesn't have to be, like, incredibly well done. If you've seen any of my sketches, like, they're not super clean and detailed. They're just like, okay, here's the general pose that I want. How can I achieve that? Yeah, looking at your own, I mean, like, the main thing is looking at your mistakes and not using it as a reason to stop, but using it as a reason to improve. You know, like, you gotta get a certain number of bad paintings out of you before you're actually gonna be good enough that you can do good stuff all of the time. And I don't know as if that's even a thing. I don't believe that people can just do art perfectly every single time. I think, people inherently just do bad art sometimes because life's just like that. Like, you know, you're sick or whatever. I don't know why people expect art to be any different than running a mile or whatever. Like, I can't run a mile in any amount of time that anyone should brag about, but I'm just saying, like, you know, if I was sick, I would run it even slower. Let's put it that way. I'm doing alright, man. How you doing? You know, some people, they need to be that harsh. I don't really feel like you need to be that harsh on your own work. I don't feel like it serves you any. It's why, I mean, it's not art. Not really. But I've been trying to, like, use less, jokes that are at my own expense. Because I don't think that's a good mental mind state to be in. Because it's like that whole, like, positive affirmations thing, except for in reverse. If you say bad things about yourself, eventually, you know, you'll start to believe it. I see a lot of that whole, like, meme thing where people, especially millennials, myself being one, just beat themselves up. And that's just not... I mean, I get it for the meme and for the, you know, likes and the love on Twitter and all that, but it's bad for your own mental health, man. Why did you decide to do art of all things? I see people do things out of habit or take up hobbies that pretend. I just like doing it. I don't have a really good explanation for it, but, like, you know, with my humor I can express some things, with art I can express the rest of it, and collectively I can, you know, do a thing that I like. Whether or not people get what I'm going after is not really something that I even try for anymore. Not that, like, anything I do or say is particularly deep. I'm not even trying for that, but, like, you know, I don't know. I very much enjoy doing art. I don't feel complete unless if I do some art, you know? This is about as slow a Vine Sauce chat as you're gonna get. let's see. And then someone asked, every time I go on Instagram or whatever, I get recommended some quick art tutorials. Reading the comments, the same comment, why let people draw how they want? I'm a little bit confused on what that question is. Like, so people are telling you that you should learn how to draw better? If so, screw them. But if it's like an ad, or like you're looking at other people's stuff, I don't know. I mean, I've seen stuff like Skillshare and stuff. I don't get why, of all of the things that an artist... So I see a lot of the art Twitter or YouTubers talk about, Skillshare, and it's like, you're there to teach them how to do art. You're giving away your customers, man. What are you doing? Like, it seems like a fine service, don't get me wrong, but, like, isn't the point to teach people how to do art? And talk about your opinions on art? Like, I don't know, it just seems like, of all the things that you could, like, if you're doing a tutorial-based channel, why would you tell people to go and do that instead? No, it's like the trendy video things that say, draw like this. Oh. Things would go even slower if I could paint Warhammer figs. I am done painting all my dudes, and they look great. I went to that, like I said, I went to that thing, and they didn't have half their stuff painted. There was one of the guys that I played, literally did not have any of his models painted. He had one base coated, and I'm like, bruh, I pushed through. I dropped everything to make sure that this was painted in time. I assumed everyone else would have painted models, and you're showing up and you're like, yeah, like this guy, the glue's still wet on him. Sorry about that. I'm like, dude. I mean, I guess that's fine, but like, what? Anyway, if there was one right way to do art, then I would believe those people who are like, draw like this, not that. There's some stuff that's personal preference. There's some stuff that's just like, that's how to do like cohesive art, you know? Like color theory is a good way of learning how to do good art, you know? But I don't know. I don't really understand the question, to be honest with you, or what you're trying to convey. If you're just talking about people telling you how to do your work, then whatever. Like, that's them. Ignore them. Like, they aren't doing the same work as you, so they're gonna... If they were trying to do their work and it looked like your work, it would be bad. But same thing the other way around, so... I don't know. I mean, honestly, you don't really have to understand anything about Warhammer to get what they do, I guess. I mean, thank you for the compliment. I'll take the compliment. I painted them exactly like the box image, so not exactly the most creative painter, but it's like, I want to do like Alpha Legion, like Plague Marines, and Alpha Legion colors are like sort of that blue and it's like silver, and that just doesn't look good on like rusted zombie dudes, you know what I mean? I don't really know how to like do a good one, and I haven't seen a good example of it. So I was just like, all right, well, I'll paint them Death Guard colors. And we'll call it a day. All right. Let's see. So I need to get some blue there. I need to get some. I should probably make this like ultramarine blue. We're basically just gonna go until I run out of batteries. Yeah, it's just super expensive. I'd recommend Tabletop Sim, Korodai. That's how I started playing. And you can switch models and, you know, armies like daily, hourly. You could go one game and ditch all the models and switch to a completely different faction and it'd be fine. Because you can play it on Tabletop Sim, it's just so much cheaper. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get sneers and looks, and I don't bring it up anymore when I go to like physical locations, because they're just like, you should support your local shop or whatever. And I'm like, my local shop also is charging $15 for 3 dudes, and I need, you know, I've got 100 points worth of dudes, and I need 2,000 points worth of dudes. If that gives you any idea, it's just like, nah. Start with Tabletop Sim. Learn the rules on there, and if you hate it, then you haven't spent any money. Not a Game Workshop approved thing to say for sure, but I don't work for them, so whatever. Where did I start my art? I mean, like, I think I started my art like everyone else, in like kindergarten or whatever, but like, I'm gonna take that question as like, when did you start seriously pursuing art instead, because that's a much more interesting question. Not to say that your question wasn't, but I think that's like the intent of the question. And I would say like when I was 18 or so. When I was like 13 or so, I was trying to do like comics and stuff like that. And those are, you can tell which ones I have like a reference in front of me and which one like panels I don't. It was about a ninja superhero. It was discontinued because of like, I guess 9/11. That was kind of a, there's a major plot point in my comic that I showed no one. That some terrorists blew up a building or something, and I had just gotten to that plot point when 9/11 rolled around, and it was like, well, I don't know. I really couldn't put myself through it at that point. You know what I mean? I don't really have any favorite comic book artists just because I don't read enough comics. I'm betting that Tilda does, because she'll read webcomics. Someone asked what my opinion of webcomics are. They're good. It's not my cup of tea. It's a good way of keeping you on track and making sure you're doing art every week and every day. Because you gotta, like, you know, push out the next page or whatever. And whatever gets you to that point is really, like, kind of where it's at. For me, it's this channel. This channel is more or less an excuse for me to push myself to do more art. Because I have to do art every week, you know? If I don't do art every week, then there won't be a video on Sunday. And so, webcomics are the same sort of deal, I would imagine, in a lot of ways for people. It's a way to get started doing art. It's like, I'm gonna look back at this painting, probably the first few videos on this channel. I'm already like a little upset about some of the videos on this channel. Just the quality of the painting and stuff like that. And I'm gonna look back and I'll be like, man, that's garbage. But you know what? I got the channel started. I started doing art more regularly because of this, so I think it's a win. I'm gonna call it a win. I love me some prismatic blues. It's pretty. Pretty. That gets us this blue right here. So I'm gonna try. I mean, one goal I had for this. Oh well, technically the goal for this channel, my New Year's resolution for this channel was 400 subs, and to make sure there was a video every week. And I've achieved both of those goals. So I'm gonna try and push it to get this channel to the point where YouTube will consider monetizing it, which means that I'm gonna have to do art streams fairly regularly, and I'd like to do it before the 1-year anniversary of this channel, which gives me about 2 months to do it. 40 times 2 divided by 2,000? What is it? 4K? Yeah, okay. So let me do some math real quick. 20,000. I'm sorry, Alondro. It's an issue with the way my setup is. So 2,000, because I move away from the mic to paint, and I don't have a lavalier mic. It's probably my next buy. It's just a shitty lavalier mic. So way I have something. All right. Okay, so I basically have to do an ArtCade stream every single day until October. At this rate, if I'm doing my math right, and that's a little bit of it's a little bit difficult. I don't know if that's gonna happen. What with work being a thing I have to go to, even if I give up doing Twitch, which I don't really feel like doing. So we'll see. I don't think I'm gonna make that goal, because I don't think it's actually physically possible at this point. I kind of got out of the habit of doing art streams, so oh well. I feel like that's a little bit better. I'm kind of the same way, and I don't think multitasking is really a good thing. Like, I'm super bad about it. I mean, it's just that whole ADD thing. Alright, good night, Mafa. You have a good sleep. It's starting to come together. This needs to be much lighter. I might actually just come over that with the white again. It's a lot of picking at this in order to get it to where it needs to be. We'll get it there. I have a feeling this is gonna mix. It didn't. Okay, I guess that's drier than I thought. Spent a little bit too much time on that other cheek. Should probably do more like tutorial streams, but those freak me out. Those freak me out something fierce. I need to figure out something to teach as well. There's a color theory practice that I really like, that I remember from when I was in school, and I guess I could do that, but that I would want to do digitally because it requires printing out stuff, and I don't know what everyone's printer situation is, so rather than printing it out, we could just not. Have I ever painted to vent emotions? Yeah, I would say that's a lot of them. I would say a lot of my work is along those lines. what I'm expressing is not always like, you know, inner turmoil. Sometimes it's, I really like metal. You know, that's what Melissa is basically. It's like this album, specifically Melissa by King Diamond, was a huge turning point in my life. My life became better because of it. I would say pretty much all of them have some sort of meaning, but not all of them are like I said, deep, reflective. Oh, he's such a tortured artist, kind of stuff. You know, because like I don't know, it's like when you listen to the radio and it's all love songs. That's like not the emotional state that I'm in. You know what I mean? I really don't get those songs. And so, and I'm not always depressed. I have other emotions, but they're like ones that I don't really have a name for it. I'm sure there's some German weird term that like is a combination of like 8 different verbs and adjectives, and that adds up to being a word that describes whatever the emotion I'm trying to talk about is, but I don't know what those are. I don't speak German. I made his nose too big. Oh well. Wish I could get my lines a little cleaner. I think I need a newer brush for that though, because this one's getting a little worn out. I'll push that over in a minute. Alright, so that needs to come down a bit more. And then this is like that. I'm actually gonna get out my Warhammer paint, one of my Warhammer brushes for this, so I can kind of like get a more exact line. Okay, so it's like theoretically it would start here-ish, and this one starts here, and it goes to here. Is that right? It's about right. I found that the Warhammer brushes, the ones that you're meant to paint your minis with, these little tiny ones, are actually super nice brushes. I mean, I use like the same brushes and paint for the whole situation, for this and that. I mean, obviously I'm not going to bust out one of these guys for Warhammer, but you know. I used some of this blue right here for that green that I mixed for the guys. This one I need to mix the... Herman has a checkup tomorrow. So Tilda is unfortunately working, so I need to take the baby to the doctor, see if he's doing okay. As far as I can tell, he is. I think there's more face over here than there is over there. Could just be because this eye is smaller. I'm gonna try and fix that real quick. Yeah, that side is definitely bigger. I think it's because the nose is too far over that side. So we need to like... And I did screw up the nose a minute ago, I just didn't realize I screwed it up that much. Alright, so that should center it quite a bit more. Is that right? That's a little bit better. Herman had a good day. He was kind of canned up all day, but he had a good time. I'm betting that's why he was so whatever this morning. It was because he was kept up in his crib all day for the most part. He's not quite big enough and smart enough to be trusted to be out on his own while we're not around. He likes to chew on cords still, and so we're trying to break him of that habit before he's actually strong enough to, you know, pierce any of them. It's definitely a worry. He's got a lot of weird little things that he does that we need to break him of before he gets old enough for it to be a problem. I'm glad you like it, man. My hope with this channel is either it inspires you to do art or it's something nice to fall asleep to. Because a lot of people go, Rev, I love your streams, I fall asleep to them. Please don't shout so much. I'm like, well, you know, that's video games. I'm gonna shout. So, kind of helping out both demographics at the same time. Not go for the high energy, like explosive content. Make something a little bit chiller. Have you gotten any art inspiration from Yakuza? I want to paint some of the scenes from that. I need to go back and actually do some, like, I don't know, video game related art, because I haven't done that recently. And so Yakuza may be the next step on the chopping block. But all the town squares and all that are very intricate, very complex. And it would take me a little bit longer. If I finish this one early enough this week, we can start working on one. But I need to find a good spot in the game. If you have like a recommendation on a certain street or something in that game you think is kind of neat looking, let me know. I'll check it out next time I play. That's not his mouth, but it looks like it is, and it's really funny. That's super funny to me right now. Ta-da! It's like his chin, essentially. It's like the cleft of his chin. It's a little bit off. I need to, actually need to, like, fix the edges real quick. I'm gonna do that while I've got some time, because I gotta wait for some stuff to dry anyway. So let's trim off some edges here, because he needs to... Just give him a happy little smile. this is like a super no-no as far as art goes. But, eh. Like the whole, like, sculpting out, like, erasing stuff with paint. It's like I should have just painted that right in the first place. But whatever. I am not perfect, nor do I claim to be. Shoulder needs to go out a bit more. I need to fix his mouth, because, yeah. Otherwise, that's gonna bug me. I'll fix it eventually. Oh. Why do you turn off? Don't know. Camera just turned off there for a second. It does that after a certain, like, film size, I think. If the file gets too big, it may be running out of battery. It wasn't fully charged when I started this stream. We're kind of going to this stream like at half battery and half energy, and just half battery in every, like, you know, spiritually, physically, mentally, actually. But we're gonna try and make something beautiful. We're gonna try and make something nice, and that's all that really matters, right? Do our best. Not bang ourselves up about too much. Water will water it down quite a bit, and you'll get almost a watercolor effect with it if you do that. I don't, but I also use really cheap paint. So my recommendation is actually, like, it's good to have your nice paint, like, you know, golden or whatever. Like, this is good. This is really nice paint, but it's almost as much as, like, one or two of these. And so what you want to do is you want to use, this is not something I do, I use a very cheap paint, or I recommend you use a cheap paint to block in everything, and then use a nice paint over top that once everything's in the right spot. Because, yeah, you will waste a ton of paint on mixing and stuff like that. And black is more or less the same regardless if it's a fancy paint or not. Unless if you're mixing. If you start mixing black, then you're gonna want to get an actual tube of black. But you can buy like a big old chunkin' thing of black like this, and then some fancier like golden or heavy acrylic Liquitex, and you'll find that it works out fine. Our channel, or the Patreon, I should say, is going to be helping quite a bit. Where do I get my paint? I get my paint at a couple of different places. I should probably talk into Mike when I'm actually answering a question. If I'm just rambling, then whatever. But I get my paint from a place called Jerry's Artorama here in Austin. It's a locally owned place. It's like a Texas chain. The namesake, Jerry, actually lives in Austin, last I heard. I get my stuff from there, and I get it from Michael's. There's the Hobby Lobby is a lot closer, but I actively do not support Hobby Lobby because they're just kind of evil. So, personal opinion and all that. I mean, yeah, part of it is just understanding how much paint you're gonna need for a given thing, and trying not to pour too much paint out onto the canvas. I'm actually just going to do this generally speaking rather than actually. And then we'll get the white in here and like clean up these lines, because that's not right. There's been a lot of requests for me to do that. Well, so is Michael's, to be honest, but Michael's doesn't have any politics that I'm aware of that I actively disagree with. That I know about. Maybe they're evil too. I hope not, because it's going to be really hard to do art if they are. There's been a lot of requests for me to do a video response to that Prager University video about modern art. And that is... I'm on the fence about it. I'm definitely going to lose some fans and followers if I address it, because there's no way to address that video and not get into politics, because that place is just inherently a very political channel, and their issues with modern art are mostly political. They don't outright say it, but they are. Blick is a good source for stuff. It's one of those things that it's like, I don't know. I don't agree with JonTron, but one of the things that really I learned from that situation is no one wants to hear about your politics, man. Doesn't matter what they are. No one wants to hear about them. Because as soon as you learn that whoever is like completely different politics than you, like I can't listen to Dave Mustaine. It's really hard for me to listen to Megadeth now. I still do, but like knowing the politics that he's about. Then again, art is also very political. It's kind of inherent in its structure and how we've decided to set it up. It was originally propaganda for the church, and told stories and helped out rich nobility prove how awesome and rich they were. And it's more or less used for that now, but it's different. It's a different set of people with a different set of rules. So it's like, there are people who very much disagree with my opinions, I'm sure, that watch my content, and it's like, do I want to alienate them for the sake of making a video? You know? And it's like, not really. I kind of realized that it's just like, is this worth it? I think there's definitely room for people to have discussions. But also, like, my job as a creator, as a, you know, person who makes funny YouTube videos, is not to be a person who gets into politics. I learned that fairly early on stream, because I would talk about politics all of the time, and it was super annoying for everyone. And in fact, people would write angry letters about it. So it's just like, I don't know, not worth it. not to say that my political opinions don't shape the things that I do, but you know, that's just life, right? I should probably change the subject, because there's nowhere for this subject to go that doesn't end with chat going into a flame war. One way or another, about something. So, I guess I should talk about Herman, because regardless of your political opinion, generally speaking in the world, I'm going to assume that you like Herman. It's probably not going to be a reason that you unsub. He's just about big enough to wear his collar now. Like, not quite, but he will be soon. He's gained definitely some weight since we got him. He feels like a much sturdier cat. He's still a kitten, don't get me wrong, but like, he doesn't feel so fragile when you pick him up. He feels like he's got some, like, bulk to him, so that way if you pick him up, he's not, like, in danger. Like, when we first got him, he was so small and just so fragile feeling. I don't know how to explain that. Half of it went onto the lid of the thing. This song could stand to be like 10 minutes shorter. But then I guess if it was, then I'd run out of things to play. So I guess it's better that it's not. But I've noticed this repeat for a bit. This actually needs to come down a bit. I'm very much picking at this and trying to figure out where it is. Do I only do painting or do I do other stuff? I'll do other stuff every now and then, but painting's very much my thing right now. I'm not really interested in doing anything else. I sketch. I'm not good with words, so I stick away from anything that involves words. I've been trying to think of, this is a thought experiment that I've had for the last little bit. I'm just going to be talking out loud because I don't know the answer to it. But pretty much all of art history has been about people thinking that the previous generation was wrong in the way that they tried to do their art, and that they were going to make art for the everyman that everyone could understand. And if you just look at random pieces of art, you may find that that is completely not the case, and you have no idea what's happening. Not to sound like another guy in a long succession of guys who think that they know better than the previous generations, but I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I mean, stuff like minimalism has done the job, but just it infuriates people when they figure out that it did the job right. Like, when you look at minimalism, the point is basically what you see. There's not a lot, like, conceptually going on there. So it's just like, yep, that's just a thing. Isn't it pretty? And so I've been thinking, like, I'd love to be able to do art that is not just of rolling hills and, you know, rustic barns and stuff, but actually, like, other stuff that, like, speaks to, like, everyone who looks at it. But now that I'm 30 years old and I think about it, I think what that style is, what that thing is probably music. Because plenty of people listen to music. People listen to music. They don't necessarily go to a museum, but they will listen to music all day, literally. And it is like, what is my opinion on digital or whatever painting? It's good. It's just not my cup of tea. I like being able to fail without having a Control-Z to save me. Control-Z is like really bad for me, I've found, and it causes me to not experiment as much. There's nothing wrong with it if you personally like it, but I find that it's detrimental to my own work, and so I'd rather not. But there's some stuff where it's just like, I have to. That's the way it needs to be done. This needs to be brought up. I'm gonna have to go over all of this white one more time once we're done, but it needs to stop there. So his mouth's gonna go away for a bit. It feels like his nose is too long. There needs to be like a little triangle right here. It's one of those things that if I don't paint for like a few weeks, I get rusty, and I'm feeling that right now. I'm feeling very rusty. Like, I'm painting, but it's just taking me way longer than it oughta to complete what I'm trying to complete. No, you're not crazy. This eye is higher than the other one. There's a lot of stuff like that going on that I'm trying to fix. But I need to center out the nose first, I think. And his nose needs to be up a little bit higher. Because his chin is longer than this. Why'd you turn off now? Well, crap. Card's full. Give me a minute. I need to get a second card. Alright, let's move this file over. Let's see. Ugh. Alright. Painting videos. this one, paste. Alright, I'm gonna get myself some water real quick. Let's put on a BRB. There's not actually like a... I don't have ads on this channel. I can't do like mid-rolls. This is what I normally would do here. Just run an ad, but... I don't have a lot of time left to paint anyway. We might call it here actually, because Tilda gets off work at 7. It'll take her 30-40 minutes to get home. Probably closer, somewhere between 15 and 30, 15 minutes to an hour to get home. It's Austin traffic after all, so who knows. So maybe we just, thank you. Just reading all the bless yous in chat. I think I'm actually going to call it here, because I'm going to have to do, like, a fairly long upload of the files, and I'm going to run out of battery soon anyway. So why don't I just call it, and then that way we're on a good page. I'll try and do another one of these sometime this week. I need to have to double check, but I believe I've got videos for the After Hours channel for the next, like, until like Wednesday or Thursday. And then I need to do the hive swap stuff, which means that I've got videos for the next week. So I could probably do another one of these sometime this week. I will tweet about it. I will post on the Discord about it. I will post on Patreon about it. I will post in the Vinesauce art channel if you're in the, you know, Vinesauce art channel. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Gonna finish this one up next time, or maybe I'll finish it off stream, and if I do, you'll see the results on Sunday. But anyway, we'll do something else this week as soon as possible. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye!